Hello and welcome back to my channel, and I'm hoping the camera quality looks a little bit better today. I've got myself a posh new phone, so yeah, we'll see how it looks while I'm editing. But today's video is going to be slightly different to what I normally do. It's basically a screen recording of a FaceTime with my sister, where we also share our screens and we do some workshopping and we talk about the importance of workshopping and constructive criticism in writing. So yeah, it's going to be quite a long video. Hopefully you'll find it interesting, and yeah, I'll get on with it. I'll let you see what we've recorded. The sound will be a little bit off in it because I couldn't use my mic as my fiance was using my mic at the time to game. So yeah, the sound quality, or especially of my mic on the tablet, is not the best. But hopefully the content will be interesting enough that you can overlook that. So anyway, enjoy. So I am joined by my sister. Give your author name, Ione.
Ione Amos.
And today we're going to be workshopping her very first draft of a new story. And she's also going to be reading a chapter of the second draft of my story, The Mad Queen, which some of you who have followed me and my channel for a little while, you'll know the story of Mad Queen already. For those of you who don't, I wrote it on Wattpad nearly a decade ago. I finished it in 2021 and I've left it for 4 years, and now I'm reworking it to basically publish it, and I'm documenting my journey as I go. Ione has not read any of the new version of The Mad Queen yet, of which I've written about 17,000 words. But today I'm going to get her to read one specific chapter because it was quite a new idea that I've had and I want to see her thoughts on it. And because she's read the old version, in fact, she was my main person who I got advice, or not quite advice from, but who I made read a lot of the time before I published it. She knows the story kind of well, so I feel like at some point I will ask her to read the whole thing, but I feel like she doesn't need to read the beginning bits to understand what's happening in this section that I want her to read, basically. So I will be quiet and I will let Ione quickly explain this chapter I'm about to workshop, and explain the story and the idea and where you got the idea from. Go.
So I got this idea from Chloe, but I will have expanded on it so it's not just
of course, yeah.
her
No
process. But I loved it.
I said to her, basically I went to a book meet with the author of Phantasma, Kaylee Smith, and in that book, in the meet, she talked about not Tourette's, that's this one. In that meet, she talked about her struggles with OCD and how she wrote a character with OCD. And I found that so interesting that she incorporated her mental health struggles into a story, like a fantasy story. So Ione has got Tourette's, and I will let her talk about that a little bit more in a second. But I basically said to Ione, what if you made a fantasy story with dragons and your main character had Tourette's, and she walked up to a dragon who would normally kill her in an attempt, but she wanted to bond with them, and she said, dragon, you scaly, I'll just beep the word out. And the dragon was so shocked by her just the fact that she'd done it, that he decided to bond with her, and it was the most powerful dragon in all the realms or whatever in the world. So that was my idea to her, and Ione was like, yes, I love that. So
she actually pitched it as Fourth Wing meets Tourette's.
Yes, Fourth Wing meets Tourette's. So the only inspiration I've given her is that small little scene. A character with Tourette's shocks a dragon into bonding with her with it because of a rude outburst. But all the rest of the story will be Ione's creation, her experiences, all just put into this work of just love and getting it out into the world, and hopefully making Tourette's, because sometimes from the point of view of a sister or someone whose sister has Tourette's, it is funny to laugh with, not at. is the most
Yes.
important thing. But a lot of people don't know the struggles that Tourette's brings. And
It's
by
viewed as a punchline.
yes, so though this story will have, I presume, some funny moments,
I'd hope so.
because Ione has some absolutely hilarious moments that I'm never going to forget, but I will not divulge on YouTube.
What will be the most funny is if I tick something whilst writing it as if I were in the scenario, and then I'll be putting it in.
But yeah, hopefully this short story will also bring to light the darker side of Tourette's that people don't really know about. Anyway, I interrupted your explanation, so go again, Ione.
So, the concept is Tourette's and dragons put together. Initially, Chloe suggested a novella or something like that, and I went, nah, bro. And then I thought, standalone, what would be the premise of the book? So now I've sort of thought of like a trilogy, potentially idea. Maybe not. Might be a standalone. I don't know. I've thought of an overarching plot with a few things in that I experienced myself. So, as we said, I have Tourette's. I have another story I'm planning to write where I work on my not work on. There's another story I've started writing a while ago where I include my FND representation, but I didn't want to put the two together because it's intense. I'm also going to have queerness in this story, asexuality, because got to have some ace rep. But the main premise is this girl who has, or this young adult has Tourette's in this fantasy world. And when someone turns 21, they have to go to a dragon walk and attempt to bond with a dragon or draconic creature. And they have to do this until they age out at 25. At 25, if they don't have a dragon bond, they're basically the low lives of society. They do the jobs no one wants to do. But if during those 5 years they get a dragon bond, their job, their place in society is determined by their dragon and what powered abilities comes from it. So
Very interesting.
And then the dragon has its own ability and the human has their own ability, and they come from the bond, not from the dragon. Because I needed to make it distinct from Fourth Wing because I don't want to rip off someone else's work.
Absolutely.
And I know their power comes from the dragon, whereas with this, their power comes from the bond they create.
Although you could argue that with a lot of
research, there's going to be no sex.
That Fourth Wing is a ripoff of every other accumulation of every other new adult fantasy book out at the moment.
So, my main character is called Wisteria because I really like the plants.
I'm going to Google it quick.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
Oh yeah, I do know those plants. Oh, they're well beautiful. They're so stunning.
I know. I want them tattooed on my collarbones.
That's cute.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I'm not right.
I love that it's so pretty, but if you like consume, I think it's poisonous or some shit like that.
Yeah.
And I will preface this by saying, it's a small percentage of people with Tourette's actually swear, but because it's my lived experience, I'm writing it in my character.
And gosh, does this girl swear?
Yeah. And so a lot of my tics may end up in the book because it's my lived experience in this character. But obviously she's going to be put into situations I'll never be put in.
Yeah.
And I will make fun out of a few things, but it's meant to be. But you'll also see the impact it has on this character. The first chapter is riddled with her anxiety because she's going to be doing the dragon walk soon. There are a few. It's a very, very rough draft, as in I've not done much planning. I've just started writing just to get words on a page. So it will change.
A great way to start.
A lot. It will change a lot, but also there are some names I might change, some descriptions I might change. So at the moment, I've called them like Draconi, like the creatures, like draconic creatures, Draconi. But I want to change the name for what the bond. So I want to have a name for what the bond is, but I haven't picked it yet. And that sort of thing I'll find with time. I'm just wanting to write.
Yeah, because I
Um,
feel like especially when you're world building, you can't just, for me, my personal way of writing is I can't just world build and not write. Like, I have to write it to actually see how my ideas fit with the world. Because, and I said this in my magic systems video, is you can plan everything and everything, like everything to the finest detail, but until you actually start writing and get the flow of the story, you don't fully know how all your small details are actually
yeah,
going to fit into the world with the
and
plot and with how the characters turn out. So writing and planning simultaneously is the way that is my writing process, and
because
I
things
think
are going to crop up in the book
yeah,
that you weren't expecting. Like when I was writing Orahasi, I thought of things part of the way through the book. I was like, well, I've got to go
yeah,
back and add
I do that all the
points to this.
time. I even like for the Skin Thief or the second book that I'm writing on Wattpad, I have exact plans for the next 5 chapters ahead. They're not like I wrote out the plans and none of them it doesn't match. I've changed it so much even in just 5 chapters. It's actually really
Yeah,
annoying.
yeah. It's annoying when it's a public thing, but when it's private,
Yeah.
it's easy. Like when I was writing it Orahasi on Wattpad, it was annoying because I had to go find the chapter and change it. But now that I'm doing drafts, it's so much easier when you've done your first draft because then you can just go back and go, oh, easy. But
Yeah.
I like rewrote it completely with all the information in mind, so it's a lot more seamless.
Yes. So what you want everyone to know is don't judge me. This is a very first draft. Basically is what you're saying.
Yes, it is very rough.
And so before we start workshopping, shall we discuss a little bit about the importance of workshopping and feedback as writers?
Yeah,
So, for me, my first introduction to workshopping and having other people read and critique my work was at university, where I did a creative writing degree.
if it's with
And
me making me read your work, what do you think? It was good. I liked it. What did you like about
yeah,
it?
I don't,
Uh,
I do not count your own feedback as workshopping. I appreciate the effort, though, Pony. But my first proper introduction to workshopping and receiving critical feedback was at university doing a creative writing degree. And that really drilled into me the importance of not being super protective over your story and thinking that everything you write is absolutely perfect because it isn't. And your baby, I know it's hard hearing bad things about your baby, but without the someone looking at it from outside of that protective bubble, it can really help your work flourish because they will catch things that you never even would have thought of. And also, it just helps build up a thicker skin because not everyone is going to like your stories once they're released. So,
mm-hmm.
starting to get that critiques in early, learning that you're not perfect, you're not a perfect writer, your story's not perfect, and there's always room for improvement to an extent. Obviously, you've got to let it go at some point, but yeah, it's very important. It's one of the main things that a creative writing degree instilled in me. Sometimes it still hurts receiving a negative comment on Wattpad, but most of the time I can brush it off now and actually use that negative comment to plan to make my story better, which again, I think that's the most important thing about writing and the most important thing about being in a writing community. I only didn't do workshopping in a creative writing degree. How did you become or get introduced to the idea of workshopping and sharing your work?
I did a short 10-week course in Brighton when I lived there through the Met College or something. I don't know. And it was really useful. We shared work as a group based on the theme, which actually is how one of the best chapters or the most devastating chapters in Orahasi came to be, was because one of the topics was research. So I researched about the effects of like nuclear war and like nuclear bombs, all that sort of jazz. And that sparked a chapter which I actually think is insane. Um, and yeah, and then the group, we sort of shared work with each other out after the course ended, but then I left the group because I left Brighton. Yeah.
So that's those are two very different ways of finding a group to help give feedback. Obviously, one is a lot more expensive and needs a lot more dedication than the other. But
Yeah.
there are always ways you can get that feedback. You don't even have to pay for a course.
I
Platforms
had a
like,
friend read it.
yeah, you can get friends to read it. And I was always too scared to do that. I still am. I only is still the only person I know who I let read my stories. Now that is going to change because I'm asking one of my friends to actually edit this, the Mad Queen, when I finish it, and I'm actually kind of terrified because
Edit it.
yeah, because she has started for our book swap. She's reading The Blood of Hercules, and my gosh, is she destroying that story? And the
Can
other
I
thought of her getting her hands on my story and ripping it to shreds on a
can
line
I employ
edit.
her?
Well, I told her I was going to pay her, so um,
Can,
maybe.
can I employ her because Orahasi's almost ready to have the shit ripped out of it.
She's brutal. She's on a line edit scale. She is
I
brutal.
need that. I've not had that for Orahasi before
Well, yeah, I'm terrified basically.
because
Um,
I want to start submitting to agents soon.
mhm.
I actually need to work on Orahasi for that to happen though.
Yeah. Anyway, where was I? Oh, and other ways you can get feedback is the TikTok community, book or writing talk community. It has just been absolutely fabulous. And I am absolutely sure that you'll be able to find other like-minded writers who don't have the means or the money to join courses or join groups and do a frivolous degree, who will be more than happy to, share their works like for like and receive feedback. So I think the writing community for the most part is actually a wonderful online community who are very enthusiastic about helping each other grow and helping each other write stories. It's just so passionate. And of course, you can always try publishing your stories online, like platforms like Wattpad, although I think that's gone a bit downhill as of late and doesn't have the best reputation. Platforms like Wattpad, maybe no, that's a website, Inkit. Not that I've used Inkit that much. I know people write on AO3, but I think that's fan fictions. But just maybe do some research into some writing platforms where you can also build up a community and receive that important feedback from readers and writers alike. So let's go through this together, shall we?
This story doesn't have a name yet.
Huh?
The story doesn't have a name yet.
Yeah.
It's not enough of a story to have something
Tourette's story.
put to it. The document is saved as Tourette's Dragon Story.
Yes, they can see.
It's
So,
actually really hard writing out what your ticks are doing.
well, I was about to say, so saying my neck twists.
And
Of course, I don't know this from personal experience. This is just what I know from seeing you do it. But it does twist feels like. Am I setting you off?
no, it will. I will just tick whilst we talk about ticks.
Okay. Twist sounds like it's too soft of a word. Like perhaps something like jolts would be better.
Yeah.
I'm gonna circle it. I like surfing underlining thing.
Oh, am I not going to edit it as we go?
Well, maybe not because it'd be cool to go back to the document and see all the things.
Okay.
Because by saying my neck twists, it kind of implies that you're just like,
Yeah. Fucking gnarly.
Is this all coming up for you?
I've got the too soft of a, so there'll be a little bit of a lag.
Also, I've changed the girth of my pen halfway through, so
See,
some of it's going to be really small. And I let out a small whistle. I'm just wondering if there's a way, perhaps a way you can almost refer to the actions that's being ticked as though it's being done by another person.
well, I'm going to be incorporating that. So
Mm-hmm.
I've maybe a bit cringe, but her name is Wisty, and I call my Tourette Sally. I've called hers Misty.
Mm-hmm.
So they do refer to it, but in my head, it's both me, my neck twists, but it's also
Yeah.
someone else doing it. But yeah, so it'll be a mixture of both because that's how it's sort of the process is in the brain.
And also,
You
as
could say
you're
release
reading,
instead of let out.
yes, that could also work. Because I was about to say, let out seems too
Yeah,
soft as well.
you've already seen the action basically. This
I can't spell. That's atrocious.
he's
Sorry, I can't. This, I think, is a common thing with writers, actually, is that writers are the worst spellers, and we can't do maths. That's what my old lecturers used to say. Writers are some of the worst spellers, and we don't need maths.
I did really well in maths,
I didn't.
but I
I
can't
did
spell.
average. I did average. I was alright. Right, and also, as you read through this as well, Ione, make your own notes as you go along. That hopefully will show up on my thing. Because it's also interesting going back as a writer and seeing how their brain works when it comes to editing a story. So if you've got anything you want to say about, oh, I think I can change this, then also interrupt me and do that.
Let's see if I can do it on my tablet instead. Eh? Oh, ew, absolutely not. Brett, oh, that would make sense.
What?
I was like, why is there no internet on my tablet? Because I turned my internet off because it was annoying me. Why did I turn my internet off? Why was it annoying me? Can't remember. Come on.
Oh my gosh, I can't spell. Cute. Also, with workshopping, it is important to give both positive and negative feedback as well. You can't just crap all over someone's work. You've got to tell them what they've done good at too. Strong opening chapter. Definitely hooks.
Mm-hmm.
Oh crap. Hooks the reader straight into action. I'm trying to write here. Good. It's distracting me.
How am I distracting you? I'm sat here silently,
Yeah, because
smiling.
I could just see you pulling a face out the corner of my eye. Sorry, what was I saying? So it's a strong opening chapter, hooks the reader, is straight into the action. So good. Improve. More show don't tell.
I always have a trouble with that.
Everyone does. It's the advice every writer is sick of hearing.
Mm-hmm.
And I guarantee you'll see it in the chapter of Mad Queen you're going to read.
Are we doing that tonight?
It's not as long as this, I don't
Okay.
think. I think it's like 2,000 words.
This is almost 4,000. So.
Yeah. More show don't. You can expand on a few areas. Specifically, the dragons. I just don't feel they feel as Yes, especially dragons. How do I spell especially? Oh my god. They just don't feel as scary
Yeah.
as they should.
So I need to big up the scariness of
Oh
the
my god, this is so
battle
glitchy.
dragons.
Yeah, whilst also contrasting them with the non-battle dragons, because I didn't feel like there was enough
No.
description about them.
Yeah.
Scary enough. And yeah, just working on basic language stuff. So, what are your takeaways from this this workshopping session?
Well,
How have you found it helpful?
yeah. You know, it showed me that the whole chapter isn't trash like I thought it was. And then good areas to improve and good ways to incorporate different techniques and my ticks and everything. Things that I already knew, of course, with the show don't
Yeah.
tell. But yeah, I'm happy with it. It's instilled confidence that I've got something here.
Yes, you do. I really enjoyed it. I briefly read a chapter of my story. Now let me ask you questions.
Yes, sister, ask away.
Did it feel spooky?
Yes.
Anyone but us is going to understand what spooky even means. Oh, it's too late for this now. Okay, did it feel
It could feel a
spooky?
bit more unnerving,
That's what
I
I meant.
think.
Unnerving. That's what I want.
With
Mysterious.
polishing, it will feel definitely unnerving. In its first draft, yes, you can get what you're going for, but it's not quite grasping the whole sensation yet. Especially with reading name X, name C. Kind of takes away from it a little bit. But yeah, once it's been polished, 100%, I know you'll get the feeling you want. It's just not quite there yet.
Could you envision the pool?
Very spuggly.
But did it come across
It
as
kind of,
beautiful but also in a horrific way? Like,
yes, but I think you told a bit as well.
mhm,
Like you did show, but you also told a bit. And I think you could do a bit more showing.
yeah.
Some of it was a bit repetitive.
Mhm.
I think also you could try and explain it because I was getting the sense that the pool was its own source of light.
Yeah.
But I think you could lean into that a bit more.
Yeah.
So you can lean into like how, like maybe looking back, the darkness was bit like
Oh, yeah,
enveloping them.
I'm gonna talk
But
about that. Like, I forgot to add it when I was writing it today, that when she looked back, she actually couldn't see the entrance.
yeah, and maybe having the cavern sort of having the darkness sort of creeping in, and like the
Yeah.
pool is fighting off the darkness.
Mm.
Like the darkness and the light of the pool are having a battle almost.
Well, the vibe I kind of wanted is like, right, so you know when you see like scary water, like, yeah, and it makes
All deep
you,
water is scary to me.
yeah, true. But like, you see like water and it looks really pretty or something, but also there's like things in it that it makes you just go like, "Ugh!" Like I would hate to swim in that sort of vibe. Like I
If you
the
can't see
the
the
type
bottom,
of like water that
don't want to go in.
you look at and you think if I were to fall in that, I'm never coming out again. That's what I
It's
was
like
trying to go
when you
for.
see um satellite images where it's like crystal clear and then there's just that ring where it just goes
What, the blue hole, the deep hole,
yeah.
whatever it is in, I don't know what country it's in.
Yeah. No, thank you.
Yeah, so that's kind of
You
the vibe I'm
try and
going
lean
for.
into that vibe. Like, is there surface, like not surface, ground that they could see at all around the edge?
No, it's like a fjord.
You say that as if I've been to a fjord.
You know what one looks like?
Not really.
So like, there's no path to anything. It's like the drop, and then it's just sheer cliffs all around. There's no ground to climb up on.
How the fuck are they going to get out of the pool then?
Just have to wait to read. Yeah, so creepy. Is it creepy?
It definitely builds up intrigue as to what they're about to see.
Cushy.
Maybe when all the sisters say ready at the same time, you could take note of each of their individual expressions. Because at the moment, you don't really. I didn't feel like I saw enough of the sisters individually. I am just reading one chapter.
Yeah, I don't know if I quite need to add that because obviously it's
Not
already
like
been 5
all of it.
chapters of.
I didn't really sense. Yes, you sense the overall fear, but you didn't sort of sense the individuality of their fear. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
There we have it. I hope you found that video interesting. If you did, please like and subscribe to the channel. And also, if you have any opinions or any thoughts on constructive criticism or anything that we've discussed in today's video, then definitely drop a comment below. But I'll see you all again soon for another video. Bye!
Oh my god, wait. Ernie, what mug do you have? Oh, so cute. Wait, look at mine, look at mine.
Yay! This was £5 from B&M.
Oh shit, this was £15 from TK Maxx.
It's really cute.
I've got another one from Primark that I'm saving for the new house, and James told me off when I bought it because he was like, "You don't need any more." I was like, "Yes, I do." It's metallic and it's like purple.
We're the
and
same
green.
in this. I keep buying bottles or sippy cups,
Exactly.
but it's because I get bored of my old one, or it starts leaking, or it's shit,
To
or
be
it's
fair,
gone gross and I don't want to drink from it anymore.
I don't think I could get bored of this one. I mean, look at it.
That's good.
What?
You're wearing a hoodie.
I'm not wearing anything underneath it, so I can't take it off.
You can't just go and change it quickly.
Okay, I will. The blooper section at the end of this video is going to be nuts.
Fuck's sake. Bitch.
What did you just call me?
Bitch.